call our meeting to order. First order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everyone to our Tuesday, October 18th council meeting, our monthly meeting. Thank you for being here both in person and all viewing online. We're going to move into our consent agenda, which will include our September 20th, 2022 regular council meeting minutes, approving the completion of probationary period for firefighters Taylor Marsh, Matthew Schutte, and Ezra Schlotthauer, and approving the raffle permit for the Church of St. Michael for December 3rd, 2022. Do I have a motion to approve consent?
I'll approve, make motion consent.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? I'd like to congratulate the three of those gentlemen for completing all the requirements, firefighter 1, firefighter 2, hazmat, and first responders, and meeting all requirements over the last 2 years. Congratulations on that. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. We'll move into public input. Do we have any written correspondence?
No written correspondence.
Otherwise, we have Mr. P in attendance. Sir, if you'd like to step up to the lectern, welcome. Thank you for coming.
I'd like to see if Pine Island could follow Zambrota's lead on garbage collection. Currently, Pine Island has garbage trucks that roaring around town 5 days a week. Zambrota, 1 day a week. Half the town 1 day, half the town the other. The visiting with the Zambrota city administrator, he said it's a no-brainer, win-win. The citizens love it. Less congestion and traffic and noise, but the biggest savings, and he emphasized this, on city streets and their alleys. So I don't know what we could do to have someone investigate this, but I would sure appreciate it.
I'm glad you brought that up. I think it was maybe a year ago, we had talked about moving to that 1 or 2 days a week for garbage collection, recycling, paying dividends on protecting the streets. I remember we had talked about that.
Just for clarification, you said Zumbrota currently does 1 day a week, but then you said they do half the town 1 day and half the town another day. So
Let me clarify that. Thank you for that. They come to town, do half the town on 1 day. So
Okay.
like in your house, you only see garbage trucks in front 1 day
okay,
a week.
so they're still doing 2 days. It's just
Right,
they're
2
splitting
days,
town
but you
in half.
don't have them in front of your house twice.
You know how many carriers they
That's
have?
but that's my follow up.
One, they put out bid, they put out call for bids, and they choose the best, lowest reputable garbage collector.
So, I mean, just, I don't know, no, we normally don't respond to public input, but, so we've had 2 or 3 mergers, right, of garbage companies in the last 12 months, and so that, I think, has created some of what, I mean, there was a point in the not too distant future where we had 2 days.
I have worked with all the garbage companies, and we have garbage companies in town 2 days a week. So we have asked them to consolidate after the mergers, and they have. So we have garbage collectors in town on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Fridays. And that's for both garbage and recycling.
Correct.
Yeah, because we had talked, yeah, it used to be what, Tuesdays were garbage pickup days back there, and then we have the 3 companies. in town, correct, right now?
Mayor, may I speak?
Who's speaking? Is
That sounds like Mr. Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Hey, Mayor, Council, thanks for letting me do this remotely. I have been exposed to COVID, and I think I don't have it, but I'm glad to be able to participate remotely. So real quick, so the city of Pine Island has considered going to a single hauler system previously. That's called organized collection. It's a kind of a controversial statutory process that garbage haulers have required that cities use if they want to consider doing that. And so I would just point out that we've imposed through that process previously some restrictions on the number of haulers that you have and the days they can operate and the terms they can operate under. If you want to go further than what you've already done, we really would have to go through that organized collection process again, that statutory process. And we'd be talking about limiting things down to one hauler at that point. And that's controversial. Obviously, I don't have a view on whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but going to one hauler is something that has to go through a process that state law dictates.
Also on Lake Zumbrota, we're two counties, right? And trash goes to different places. That plays into this as well, so. But
I do like the idea of having that discussion, just have that discussion before next year again. You know, and because there are some people that get concerned with garbage trucks coming into town around 6 in the morning or whatever. And, you know, and just addressing that wear and tear on the city streets. But we've had other discussions too, for different ideas that have been floating around about garbage removal too, so. no,
Is
we
it-
can-
Is it proper protocol, since we already consented the agenda for tonight? Do we say put this on next month's agenda to continue the discussion, since it seems like there is some input, or what's the right order of operations?
Absolutely, we can have it for discussion.
Yeah,
Several months ago, I'd approached Administrator Howard about working with one of our employees to put together even the possibility of over time gravitating towards a city utility whereby we would do our own garbage proposal. Maybe we don't want to put this on the agenda necessarily for next month, but maybe
this is not an action item, so
Yeah.
it can be put on the agenda.
it could be put on the agenda at any point in time.
Mhm.
As we feel we have enough information to talk about it.
Certainly.
If
Thank you,
that's,
Mr. Pete.
if that's the case, can I make a motion to put it
We
on?
don't need it.
Yeah, we
Oh,
don't need
no,
that.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
Nope, we're good. so.
okay.
All right, we're gonna move into administration, item A, which is request to approve phone upgrade quote from Bevcom. Elizabeth, are you leading this packet?
Well, we actually do have a representative from Bevcom here. Dan, I'll invite you up if you'd like to come up.
Welcome, sir. Step on up to the lectern, introduce yourself, and thank you for coming.
Hello, my name is Dan Jacobson. I just want to say thank you for having me and thank you for all your continued business with Bevcom. It is greatly appreciated. Let me kind of tell you how this started. I was in Pine Island. I worked out here about one day every week or two. I'm based in our new Craig office. And Elizabeth called in some phone moves that they wanted to move around. So I stopped in, moved them around. And at the end, she says, well, you know what? I know we have an antiquated system, so why don't you send in your salesperson? I said, well, Elizabeth, he's already here, so I could be happy to talk to you. So what I did is I put together a proposal for the city of Pine Island to kind of incorporate the departments into one unified telephone system. And it is a lengthy proposal, so in the interest of saving time, I can go through it really relatively quick for you guys.
Captivating reading.
What's it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're having trouble sleeping, go for it. But the first page is just a history of Bevcom, fourth generation family-owned company. And then I did a little thank you letter there. The solution I proposed is Zaltis. Bevcom actually works with several different platforms, and based on the first meeting I had with Elizabeth, this was the solution that I thought would be the best fit to incorporate everything all into one solution. There is some reading material there, like I say, but the main thing I'd like to focus on is the benefit sheet, which is the next page. This telephony platform comes with a built-in mobile cell phone application that you can use. You can log in and out of that application, so you can essentially turn it on and off. You can transfer calls from it. You can put calls on Park. You can actually,
So you can receive an office call on a mobile device.
yep, so anytime
Your
that,
office phone can ring your mobile phone.
exactly, it tethers to your desk phone. So for instance, if Elizabeth was out of the office and she was logged into her app, it'll ring her desk phone and her cell phone simultaneously. From that, she can transfer calls from that mobile app if she needed to back to the office to somebody. You can also make an outgoing call from that mobile app and have it portray the main number for City Hall or the library or whoever. And the nice thing about it, that app is included for every user. I started off with the lowest tiered user on this platform, and it does include the mobile app. So if at any point in time anybody wanted it, we could just turn it on. I would come down, install it for them, train them on it, and show them how to use it.
You pay per user on the app? It's all
Nope, it's all included. It basically, and I'll tell you when we get to the quote, everything is like, it's a suite price, so it's SUITE, where it includes the phone, the features, the functionality and everything. So it's not an add-on feature to have the mobile app. It does come with voicemail to email notification. That actually is a great thing to have. It makes it very easy to relay messages, forward off an email with that wave attachment. They can listen to it wherever they want. It does make that very easy. Transfer between locations. If Elizabeth took a call and it was for, let's say the fire department, she could literally transfer that call right to the fire department via touching two buttons, pretty much. Transfer to cell phones. You can do that too. It does come with an advanced auto attendant as well. That would be, thank you for calling the city of Pine Island. For City Hall, press 1. For the License Bureau, press 2. For the fire department, press 3, et cetera, et cetera. So it will allow you to incorporate everything into one platform. Directory built in. Day-night functionality, it does allow you to have a different day recording and a different night recording. And we can program those actually automatically by a day-night table. So if the city of Pine Island City Hall closes at 4:30, you can automatically roll into night mode and play the night grid. And we can program that accordingly, however you guys would want it to program. Call forwarding, it does have, you would be able to keep your local numbers on this platform. It does have customizable hold music. If you place somebody on hold, you can change it. It comes with canned elevator music, button like that.
Little hair
can
metal
work-
radio.
There you go. I do have some that have songs on their phone systems, believe it or not. It is totally scalable. That is one of the best things about this platform is you pay per suite. So if you ever need to add another extension, another user, you're just adding another suite. You know exactly what you're paying. HD voice, the voice quality on this platform is second to none. It does use VoIP technology, and it is very clear. One thing about a hosted solution is everybody asks the question, what if my internet drops? This solution actually has built-in disaster recovery, where in the event, even if you lost power here at City Hall, because it's a cloud-based platform that can see, I can't ring any phones at City Hall. I need to reroute these calls to somebody's cell phone or another location or anything like that.
GovCon internet never drops. Is that what you're supposed to say?
I don't lie. So
Yeah,
I know nothing is perfect.
So do you have the capabilities, for instance, with like the fire department where it's not 24/7 coverage over there?
Mhm.
So if people are calling, it can like bump it over to City Hall during the day?
Yes.
That's what, yeah.
Yep. I did meet with your chief. Yep. I did meet with your chief too. I went around and I did an assessment of each location for internet functionality, seeing the equipment that was in play to make sure this would be supported, by whatever's currently in place, and everything is a go as far as that goes. But your chief was really keen on the mobile app. He doesn't like making calls from his cell phone, giving out a cell phone number to everybody, which I can't blame him.
Mhm.
But where you could log into that mobile app and make an outgoing call from there, and it would show the fire department's main number, is definitely a value. 99.9% uptime. Zoltis actually has 2 main call centers in the United States. One time a year, they turn one off just to test their redundancy. Nobody has ever noticed. So they pride themselves on their uptime. Ease of use, the phones are super easy to use. I pride myself, I was a technician for 12 years before I went into the sales kind of installation hybrid role that I'm in currently. I do all the installation, I do the training, I do the follow-up visits. I pride myself on that. I've always felt that if a business is not happy with a solution, it doesn't do that business any good, and it doesn't do me any good either. So I pride myself on our installation process. I did quote a shared hosted fax as well. That's so they can fax via email client. You can basically fax from anywhere. So that is a added benefit. And the local service and support. I know I am based in New Prague. Jill here in the office does a lot of our phone support too. But if I can't dispatch a tech, I come down and fix things. I do it quite often. I enjoy it. It actually keeps me checking in with the customers.
We like Joe.
Yeah, Joe.
Very
I mean,
much.
you're
Yeah.
a great fellow, but
Just
Jill's-
a,
I like
Jill's
Jill
a-
great. Jill
Jill's
is
a
great.
tremendous asset for
You
you
bet.
guys. So
You
yeah.
bet
She
she
is
is.
very good.
you got a lot of
bet
great
you-
assets in this office.
Yes.
Just to make sure I understand what a shared hosted fax is.
Yep.
So if somebody faxes the city of Pine Island, it would then generate that into an email inbox instead of a physical.
Yes,
And then
exactly.
outgoing, same deal. They could send it from a computer and say, I want to send a fax, and it will punch it out someplace.
Yep, and the nice thing about that shared hosted fax is you can have multiple users. So you can authorize like 5 users to have accessibility to that fax. And then when it comes in, it can only go to one email address. on incoming, but you can have, if you want to create, some people do like a fax at City of Pine Island, you know, et cetera, and you can have that go to multiple people if you want.
So if the fax number is 356-1234.
Yep.
It then goes from there to one user, but then it can get pushed out to whoever needs it.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it goes to one email address.
One email.
Like a distribution
address.
email per se, if you'd like. I know that's what some people do.
Okay.
The ones I quoted are for the fire department and city hall.
Okay.
The next page, is there any questions so far? Okay, the next page does go over all the features and functionality of the platform. Like I say, I quoted all standard users because I think that's really all you guys would need. If you ever came and said, I'd like somebody to be able to have a soft phone, that would be just a bump tier up to the next level of premium user and et cetera, to a contact center user, which I really think would be overkill. That's for people that want to monitor every call and
What's a
call
soft
queues and
phone?
all that kind of stuff. Soft phone is actually through your computer. Like a client that you can use to make calls and transfer calls and everything via computer. So we've had that a lot where people end up having to work from home for a certain period of time. They'll call us up, we'll set them up on a soft phone, and they can work just like they were in the office, but they can also use a cell phone app to do that too. Little pictures of the phones there. The ones I quoted are the most economical ones. It's the Zip 47G phone right there. It is a very nice phone. Comes with a lot of programmable keys on it and everything. We could actually skip over to, here's some reading on the mobile client. It's called Xultus Mobile Communicator. It does work on both iPhones and Androids, so there's no worries about if it's not compatible with somebody's cell phone. It does work with both. Super user-friendly and very reliable as well. On to the quote, if we don't have any questions. So what I did is I broke it out. There's a total of 15 phones, 9 at City Hall, 3 at the library, 2 at the fire department, 1 at maintenance, and 2 at the waste treatment plant. Each user, each suite is $21.99. And so I did quote 15 of them per our conversations. There would be, and as well as SIP trunks down at the bottom, facilities. SIP trunks are basically internet telephone lines. So it's a lot more economical way to have telephony as well. 14 DIDs, that's direct number dial numbers. That's all the numbers that we would move over from the current platform onto this to accommodate everybody calling in and the numbers they dial. There would be a one-time installation fee of $2,000, but that covers everything. That covers training, that covers programming, that covers follow-up visits and everything. I'd like to add, this is an ongoing partnership. So if people call and need moves, ads, or changes done, name changes, anything like that, there's no extra fee for that. As well as this being suite pricing, if a handset goes bad or a phone goes bad, we simply come and replace it at no charge. No service call fee, no nothing. Any questions on the quote so far? What I also did is I included a service agreement as well as a statement of work telling you what all is covered in the installation and everything. And then I also did a dial tone assessment just so you can kind of see where everything falls into play. That's the other sheet that I gave you guys there. This sheet covers, if you look on the first columns here, you currently pay $547.16 for your dial tone. This platform coming in at $605 would give you all the features, the functionality that I just covered, as well as new phones for about $55 more a month.
So that was my question. So $600 a month looks like a lot of money, but we're already paying $550.
Yep. And also I'd like to add, this is just for the core here. I know on your phone bill, it does show the swimming pool, the phones you have in place at Evergreen Place. They could very well be incorporated onto this too to save even more.
Kind of makes sense at this point. If we're gonna change out,
So-
why change out 90% of the system and leave 10%? When it's open.
And there's a couple differences between this quote and the quotes in our packet.
Yep, because
Um,
in which one?
The quote was put out to us in our council packets,
yep.
and then we got a hard copy tonight.
This is
There's-
our existing service.
Right.
Yes, that's your
Oh.
existing service.
Okay, and just to reiterate, what is the risk we, the city, face by not transferring over and getting everything all on one page? Like, what risk do we face operating in our current system? Just messy, discombobulated?
It's
Yes.
just like technically, if you want to move phones around and stuff like that, there should be bills.
It's 20th century technology.
It
Yeah,
is.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
is.
Yeah.
This is the way I can tell you business operates.
yeah.
I can let you know too, when Dan came in to sell another phone. Started, we had to call in some of the. But old technology.
And I figured that was worth asking, because this is not superfluous spending by any means.
It's not the old-fashioned
This
way.
question just leads to I guess my ignorance of who answers what, but when the phone rings at City Hall, is it just kind of a free-for-all? Whoever gets to it first gets it?
That one usually.
Okay. Good.
Stephanie, do you basically field a lot of the, I know Elizabeth answered too, you field a lot of the calls.
Job,
I mean,
Stephen.
Party phones.
The only reason I'm asking that question is that does it make sense to have one station that has a different style of phone for more functionality? I mean, I see there's differences in there. I would hate to approve this at exactly X dollars at X cents and then hamstring you if you decide you want to upgrade a suite or two to a different phone style. You're good.
This exceeds our current capabilities.
Actually, I'm impressed that those phones are only $22 a piece.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we try to stay competitive. We do.
It would be fantastic to have one of those menus of press 1 for City Hall, press 2 for the DMV, plus, yeah. It's, again, upgraded to the 21st century.
Yep, and it's not a sale, it's a partnership.
Yeah.
That's the way I approach all these. If you have programming changes, like I say, even if you want to change the way calls come in, you simply call us up, we change it for you, no charge. Where on your current platform, if they call in and they need a programming change, they do bill for every service call like
It's not a
that.
sale, it's a partnership. I gotta remember that.
You bet. You bet.
Says the guy in sales.
Right?
Only for the last 8 years, I was a technician on phone systems.
Oh, I was talking about him.
He's giving
Oh,
me a hard
yeah.
Yeah. He's stealing your thunder to
Ultimately,
use for
yes.
his own.
Ultimately,
I'll
I am
credit you
sales.
when I use that.
Well, I'll go ahead and move to approve the phone upgrade.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Council, any other discussion? This is, yeah, I appreciate you coming over and explaining this to
You bet.
the council, and we've been trying to go in the right direction over the last couple of years, so this is just one of those added steps. I appreciate that.
We get trade in on the old phones.
I wish. I wish.
Somebody needs them.
If somebody needs a boat anchor. or
You've
something,
seen
I'm
the,
sure
you've
maybe-
seen the clip from Office Space, right? Where they take the baseball
Yeah.
bats to the PC load letter printer. That's what, that's all these are good for.
It is nice though too, for moves, adds and changes, if you move people around in the office, you literally, just like your computer, you take the phone with you, you plug it back in and it
it's there.
comes up. You don't have to do like what I did downstairs, move jumpers around and all that to move people around.
And it goes without saying too, BevCom has been very generous with donations to the city of City of Pine Island School and stuff like that too. And they've done a very good job being a good community member. So it's a good partnership.
Beyond a good community member, yeah.
Thank you, thank you. We feel the same way about the city of Pine Island.
Thank you. All right, council.
Yep.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, the lines on the right do have to stay in place. That's your elevator lines in City Hall and the library. And as well as the sewage plant line, because that's where there's SCADA monitors. So that line does have to stay in place.
They aren't digital yet for elevators or SCADA, huh?
Yep.
Oh, I see. You're saying there's some old school lines that have to
Yes.
stay.
Yep.
Okay.
Ones and zeros haven't quite caught up with those systems yet.
All right, council, we had a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, you too. All right, council, we'll move on to item B, which is a request to approve quotes for the license bureau renovation. We had two different quotes submitted, both from Todd Yackey and from Pete. You want to take this away?
Yep, so as you know, we've been working on.
I'm gonna move approval of the GADKey bid for the license bureau with the funds to come from the ARPA funds.
Second.
A motion and a second. No, it's nice to have both of the quotes coming from our local companies. That was very nice to see. And like Elizabeth said, this has been an ongoing process trying to get people to do quotes. It's been busy. It would be nice to get done, so. No other discussion, all in favor with Active Builders, signify by, sorry.
You said that Todd included some allowances that Peak did not?
They both went off the plans. If you read the quotes,
I did. I'm a little,
Mr. Gaffey included, something to break this out to save some money. And so he actually, we had talked about the fact, so he included a $5,000 flooring allowance.
So Todd was $17,000 less and included some extras per se.
yeah, it's hard to break down and I just hope hope everything is covered as thoroughly. I mean, Peak really broke everything apart, which all I could look at is numbers on Todd's and hope he doesn't have change orders for things that would have been included with Peak, I guess.
States that,
All right, anything else, council? Good questions? All right, all in favor with Gacky Builders signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you for your work on that, City Hall. Let's move into item C, which is request to approve the HydroCore quote. This is with the monitors. Anyone here from HydroCore? Are you doing that?
we're not, through this. So this is, there's a quote before to approve essentially what I discussed last month. What I discussed last month, when I presented to you, is the expense that we're going to be changing over. With that in the 2023 budget, we do need to with that utility committee that our first plan was phase two. But then we do daily technology that needs to happen. So our company has HydroCore. They take care of scheduling appointments.
I'm gonna move to approve the HydroCore quote to replace the water meters as needed.
I'll second.
In a second. We spent quite a bit of time going over this plan and it's been in process, long process coming to this. And what's really nice is those that have tried the monitors out have given really good feedback about being able to monitor their water usage and especially the ones that didn't realize they had a leak somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I can just do a little, so water meters, from the council. We've installed it when we're debating whether we should move forward. And it actually
It's taken too long of a shower, you can turn it off now, so.
It's nice that HydroCorps also does the logistical of talking to residents, scheduling the appointments. A lot of that smaller logistical stuff was just, a lot to juggle for our already extended public works employees.
So Elizabeth, in that, there's somewhere in here, it had talked about like a no-show fee. Correct. Does that? Where's- There it is, right there. Does that fall back on like the city then, or does that fall back on the homeowner if they schedule and the homeowner doesn't show up? Gotcha.
I had the same question. I'm assuming HydroCorp will bill us, we'll have to bill that residence, right, for that, but I'm just, yeah, I'm a fan of billing that residence the no-show fee, because that will get expensive for us, I'm sure of it.
Oh, yeah.
So they charge us.
So if somebody no-shows, then they've got a dead hour with, right, essentially nothing else scheduled. Maybe they can punt, but likely not. So that's a reasonable fee. Yeah.
All right, council, we had a motion and a second on the HydroCore quote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move into resolution 22-51, fixing rates and charges for municipal utilities. It sets in there the fees over the next few years, and like Elizabeth said, the really big ticket item that we're gonna be dealing with is that treatment plant, and we're trying to do our due diligence and partner with our neighboring communities to try to make it cost effective to our community and taxpayers. Any homeowners very leery of what that number could look like, so we're trying to do our job and be fair.
And for those who are unfamiliar with Mike Bubani, he is a magician. He has a spreadsheet that he punches numbers into, and it gives council members a real-time understanding of what impact some of these changes would make. So I'm very grateful, as a council member, to have this guidance from Mike Bubani and the suggestions and real-time implications showing what impacts that would have. So I feel better educated on the issue after that meeting with Mike.
I'll move resolution 2251, fixing rates and charges for municipal utilities.
A second.
Motion and a second, and as our community members might see some of these small increases, they have ample opportunity to reach out and ask questions at City Hall if need be. So, the motion is second. Any further discussion, council? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We'll move on to item E, which is request to approve ordinance 162. It's the mobile business unit. There's some lengthy reading in this one as well.
I do think we need possibly some more discussion. If we're going to have, but currently, the ordinance does read that it would not be the. City attorney Bob Holes about whether or not we do want to permit. Or then somebody. I think have us. So. I didn't feel.
I think we currently have zoning and whatnot that regulates residential districts. I think it's a slippery slope trying to regulate private property. Also, people that come to your house to provide a service. I mean, now we're talking about the furnace guy and the who knows whatever. You know
House
what I mean?
cleaners.
Anybody that comes to your house to do anything. Yeah,
I think limiting what can be done on private property would be unprecedented. I don't think there's other towns that do that. Private property is private property.
I think the spirit of this ordinance is to regulate a business that's gonna park on public property, probably a city parking lot for a day or a number of days and do business out of that one location, not a business where you call somebody, make an appointment, they come to your house. I see those as two separate things.
If it becomes an issue, we can always look at it.
Yeah.
Again,
I appreciate the diligence that went into researching this. Obviously, mobile businesses are complicated and a relatively new business model. I had sent some emails back and forth with both Elizabeth and David this weekend to better understand, since I don't own a mobile business, I don't know what it's like to operate a mobile business. And I want to make sure our community has a mindset that matches the growth that we've seen. The couple questions that I did want to ask tonight were specifically about that insurance limit and just in general, what the threshold is for a mobile business. Obviously, we don't want to inhibit fundraisers like the salt and the corn from operating on public property either. Of course, it makes sense that Bob is in the interest to protect the city, and we as the council need to decide how much risk we want to take on in being accommodating to mobile businesses. So if you want to give, if you would be okay giving just a very brief recap on what currently is in the ordinance, or specifically adding the city to the business's insurance policy, how that specifically works. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're not asking Elizabeth to recap the whole ordinance.
No,
It's in the packet that anybody
Yeah.
could have read. Business insurance is not unprecedented.
okay,
$1.5 million. There's people that have $1 million umbrellas at their house for a pool or a trampoline. Any business worth their salt likely has insurance to these limits. It's funny, I read the policy and then when I got the insurance, I'm like, oh, yeah, I mean, insurance is a part of doing business, so.
and that's why I asked to understand.
When there's an,
Mayor,
yes.
may I speak? I'm in a dark place, so I'm not gonna turn my video on again, because you won't see me. Great questions. So the reason for the $1.5 million insurance limit, and the reason that the city would be asked to be named as an additional insured on that policy that a mobile business would be required to get, is that that's the statutory limit on city liability. So state law says cities can't be liable for more than $1.5 million in damages from something that happens related to the municipality's actions. So that's the $1.5 million limit. And then why name the city as an additional insured is that if a business is licensed, whether it's a bar or a place that sells tobacco, or it's some other kind of business, tattoo shop, whatever, that has a license, the presumption is that that business, has some impact on your community, has some potential harmful thing that could happen. And so you're requiring a license to make sure that you keep track of that business. If that's true, then requiring any business, including a mobile business like we're proposing here, to have a license, that business really ought to have insurance and ought to name the city.
Mhm.
So that's kind of the simple explanation. I'm happy to dive deeper, but I had an email exchange with the council member about this, and I want to make sure that the council understands the rationale for what's being presented.
Okay, thank you.
No, and looking at this, and sometimes I feel like our community ends up being a guinea pig when we're trying to look at how to figure some of these things out that other communities haven't had to deal with yet. And our goal is to be open and allow opportunities for different vendors that want to come into our community, and also for those that live here. We're trying to do our due diligence and have this lined up because everyone knows very well. Some of our friends on social media like to go around and be the police on this and try to stir things up. And I want to make sure that we have done our due diligence in making sure that this is fair and that we're protecting ourselves. So we've had some really good conversations and questions over the last few months as we've looked at this, and we're trying to do our best to make sure it's done right.
Absolutely, thank you.
I don't remember the other question I was going to ask you today, and it just finally came to me. What does our peddler's permit cover? I tried to find it in city code, couldn't find it. Door-to-door sales type stuff, the Kirby vacuums or something like that. Okay.
So are there allowances for in here if you have, a business that might operate like with Noah? If he operates on the street and they're not supposed to operate within so many feet of a driveway, things like that.
So it does say that it's operating on the street, operating on private.
But if my furnace guy comes and I don't have room in my driveway, which I don't tonight, he's gonna park in the street.
Or a landscape contractor with
Yeah.
trucks.
I had skid loader work done in my backyard this week. There's not room in a driveway for that, so he unloaded in the street. I mean, I think
We're nitpicking
in
now at this
that
point.
case, it's classified differently than
Yeah.
what we're talking about here. I feel, so I feel like I'm okay with it. I feel like it's defendable.
Certainly.
Yeah, Mayor, if I may.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a great point. I mean, the reality is we all know in our heads what we're thinking about, right? Food trucks operate typically in commercial zones and in larger, congregated areas where obviously people are going to come and make use of those services. There are services that want to go out into our neighborhoods though, right? I mean, the one I think of that I mentioned to you, Mayor, at the last meeting was bike repairs. People want to have their bikes repaired maybe in front of their house. And that's what this ordinance you're proposing to adopt would allow. I think the concern about, is it too close to the curb, or is it in front of the driveway, or is it causing a congregation in the place where it shouldn't be? Those are things that are just going to have to be addressed as we move along. I don't know how we can write an ordinance that addresses all of the possible problems that might occur. I think if your city wants to, and obviously I have no opinion about the policy here, it's up to you, council. But if the city wants to encourage businesses that can be operated remotely, we may down the road have to make some adjustments to address some issues. And that's fine. That's what happens when cities accommodate new kinds of businesses or new ways of doing business. So it's entirely possible we'll find things that have to be addressed, and I'm sure that the council will be open to that if that is the case.
you can't legislate morality, and you certainly cannot write a ordinance to cover every possible thing under the sun. There's not a, and that's a deep, deep rabbit hole. I will move approval of ordinance 162.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 162, mobile business unit. Any other discussion on this, council? And much appreciation to City Hall for their work on getting this ironed out. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
We're gonna move on to item F, which is a request to approve ordinance 163, the mobile food unit, which had one slight change from what we had before. Elizabeth, again, are you gonna highlight that exclusion?
I'll move ordinance 163.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're gonna move on to item G, a request to approve the LMCIT waiver. More fun numbers here. We've not done before, correct?
I will move the approval of the LMCIT waiver.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that? Nice.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
sorry. I should have looked, I looked at multiple items carefully. This was not one that I did. So I'm unable to hear Elizabeth, and I apologize. I think there's a microphone problem with me hearing Elizabeth. So I think what's happened is that the city has historically gotten insurance through the LMCIT, and we have not waived what I just talked about 5 minutes ago, which is that there is a statute that limits municipal liability to $1.5 million per occurrence. So I think what the city has done historically is not waive, NOT, not waived that limitation on liability. So I thought I heard we were talking about waiving something. I don't think we have historically waived that limitation on liability, but maybe I didn't hear. So can somebody that has a microphone just tell me what we're doing here?
Liz is currently fixing her batteries right now, so we approved not waiving the waiver, if that makes sense to you.
Beautiful. That totally makes sense, and that's perfect. Sorry to interrupt. That's right. Good,
No worries,
thanks.
you just recapped everything Liz said for us since her microphone was dead. We're having battery issues tonight.
Yeah, so, and with that, we had a motion and a second, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Bob. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Let's move on to item H, which is request to approve the ARPA fund purchase for the ice rink lighting. This is a continuation of our upgrades to the ice rink / pickleball court complex. Learned a lot about lighting this week.
Okay, hopefully that's better. Yes, this is.
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Bob. My batteries died. I didn't realize it. This is a request to purchase ice rink lighting using the ARPA funds again. As you know, last year we received received some ARPA funds. We have spent very minimal of that money because I wanted to ensure that we could do the DMV remodel now that we have quotes and we know what the DMV remodel is going to cost us. I wanted to look at different projects. This project kind of came up here in the last few weeks, and I think it's critical for our ice rink to move forward. The park board was trying to do it with their limited funds, and at the end of the year, they just didn't have the money available. They were willing to wait another year, but with the money that we've invested into the pickleball courts and the ice rink, I think that this would be a good use of funds to get lights down there for this season. We were going to have Valley Electric. They had already come in and they were already going to put the lines in underground and have it ready to go. And so this would just be a continuation of the work that was already approved by the park board.
Can I drive for a minute?
Yes, I was gonna pass it off on you
Yeah,
because I know you have some comments.
So just high level, I think this is completely in the spirit of ARPA funds, right? It's outdoor activity, and that's the one thing we said during COVID is there's nothing better than an ice rink and now pickleball, and so it's all good. The one thing that we didn't consider was the smaller rink, the figure skating rink. I'm gonna call it, we need a couple of lights for that. I talked to Supervisor King. He thought, and I agreed, a couple of lights probably mounted on the Butter Factory building. Couple of those LED lights in this quote, they're $480 a piece. We're gonna need some labor. So I guess I'm there. We didn't really finish talking about it, but I'm gonna move approval of this with the addition, with an additional $1,500 to cover 2 additional lights for the figure skating rink.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 19,694 plus, and then plus that 1,500.
21,
The,
you need a total?
do you want to do up to 22,000 or something?
Sure, let's do
that
that.
enough?
I like that.
I'll amend my motion to be approval of this project from the ARPA funds up to $22,000. Thank you.
Second.
A motion and a second, and this is one thing I like to challenge some of our fair citizens here in town that might question the expenditures down there. These are the ARPA funds, so this is not going to be coming out of our general fund. This is not using, some people argue, taxpayer money. This is a quality of life project that we've done, and it has served us very well. When we've seen the number of residents, both local and visitors, utilizing the ice rink, has been absolutely phenomenal. And now with the pickleball court, it has been nothing but positive feedback, and that's what we want. That's what we're doing. We're bettering the community. So this is something that it's fun to watch. It was an organic project that has come out, and we've seen the results of that. So it's fun to watch.
Quick question. How will we control these lights? Is somebody going to go turn on all 10 lights? Will it be
It'll be on a
timers?
timer.
Okay.
There'll be a manual as well because we'll probably have a timer to get people off the court, but then like our flooders could come.
Can turn it on to do their flooding and prep, so they're doing it safely with plenty of light.
Correct.
Good question. Any other discussion, council?
Mike amended the motion. Jason, did you re-second?
Yep.
Okay.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're going to move on to another really neat project that's been in the works. A request to approve the ARPA fund purchase for accessible playground equipment. Elizabeth has been working very, very diligently with the school on this, and this is an idea that came out of some discussions. And we've been wanting to do this for some time, so.
Yep, it's the night that I'm asking to spend some ARPA dollars again, but as you know, we've talked about how we can bring accessible playground equipment to the city. I know we've talked about this in multiple work sessions with council, and it's not an excuse, but the equipment can be expensive. And so we've been trying to figure out how we can figure this into our budget. Essentially, the city always has to stay one step ahead with budgetary funds, so it's hard to look at projects that we can do now. As Dr. Champa and I have had discussions, we want some immediate action. So we have decided that, to better serve the community, it would be best to get something in play right now. And we feel the immediate need is actually at the school. And so, it is my suggestion to partner with the school to purchase this accessible playground equipment. There's two pieces of equipment that we're looking at right now that were included in the packet. The total cost would, with installation, is $51,914. We are applying for multiple local grants, to hopefully take care of some of that. But I am asking council to approve up to 50% of that, which would be the $25,957. Again, we're hoping we can bring that down a little bit, but the location that we're suggesting is at the middle school and high school, to have, equipment as soon as possible. We know that this doesn't solve the problem and that there is a bigger need out there. So Dr. Champa and I are putting together a longer term plan. We would like to have, an entire accessible system, playground system. And we are talking about locating that at Trailhead Park. And so, we've started preliminary discussions looking for, different foundations that would help us plan, kind of a community fundraising event in addition then for the school and city to be partnering together to have that equipment there. So that would be a larger system, with a lot more to offer. So we're kind of looking at a short term and a long term, something that would bring it immediately, and then, something that our goal would be 2024, 2025, somewhere in there for a larger system. So
This equipment would go in the spring at school?
I believe so, yes. I think at the latest, yeah.
Awesome.
And in the past, we've had issues with similar accessible equipment being vandalized or torn on by kids. The school playground area is well lit, and I believe they have some cameras outside
They do.
too, if that would be an issue.
They do.
Not encouraging any vandalism, but
I think
if we're
too,
investing this much in the equipment.
I think before too, the city probably wasn't looking at quite industrialized equipment, where this is true industrial, accessible equipment. So
A rocker swing.
I'll move approval of the ARPA fund purchase for accessible playground equipment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Thanks for your work on that, Elizabeth. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All done, council. Item I, request to approve ARPA fund purchase, we already got through that. I forgot to cross that one off. We're gonna go into planning commission. Continuing with our discussion on parks, we're gonna be looking at resolution 22-52, which is the Custer Park bathroom variance. Trying to put up a photo room out there. All right, Elizabeth.
we are, so the city applied for a variance, to meet a setback requirement. And so just to give a little bit backstory, I was approached a few years ago by multiple daycares in town who brought it to my attention that Custer Park is the only park on the east side of 52, which, is correct. And there's actually the highest volume of our daycares are on the east side of 52 as well, which means that Soul Parks, services not only multiple subdivisions, because it is the only park over there, but it also services multiple daycares. So they requested just what it would be to get a restroom facility in that area for the residents. And so we started out with a porta potty. So we've had a porta potty there the last 2 years just to see how much it would get used, and it is used, and it has definitely shown as an asset. So the park board has actually asked to move along, and so the city is making this request on behalf of the park board. When we're looking at location, the city is asking for a variance of 21 feet, and so it would only have a 9-foot setback. In that zoning, the Parks and Open Space District, it asks for a 30 feet setback. The reason for this setback is because, one, the location of the water and sewer lines for it to be gravity fed. That is one of the better locations, and two, for accessibility, because there is a path. And so that a cement sidewalk that's already there, so if we were to put it somewhere else, it would not be accessible to the public.
This is essentially essentially when I was out there, it's relatively close to where that porta potty was sitting? or-
Correct. It would be
Very nice.
essentially in the same location where the porta potty has
And
been the
so
last 2
aesthetically,
years.
it's not in a bad spot at all.
Correct. It'll actually probably look better than a porta
Mhm.
potty. So,
Yeah.
we're looking at just a one stall bathroom. It would be handicap accessible. There'd be a baby changing table in there, as well. And then, so a public hearing was held last week before planning and zoning, and they are recommending approval of the requested variance.
I'll move 2252.
Second.
And then motion and a second, and just to emphasize, I think we have 5 daycares on that side of town that utilize that park. And
That's
they've
huge.
been very, very patient, and they've done their job in making the request, so. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And Elizabeth, what is a rough time frame for that?
We're hoping in the spring.
Okay.
So,
All right, let's move on to our fence discussion, resolution 22-53. Shimmick fence variance, again requesting an allowance to put up a fence.
correct. So, as you can see on the map, the Shimmicks are located at 400 8th Street Southeast. This is a corner lot. It's unique in the fact that you take 7th Street up, then you take a right, and then you would take a left on 8th Street. Because there's a 90-degree turn, they get a lot of traffic by their house because this street funnels all the traffic by their house out to the golf course subdivision. And so the Greensview subdivision, this would be the traffic patterns of where that would go. And so because of the 90-degree turn, they get a lot of noise and they got a lot of light actually in their house, not even their yard. And so they're asking for a variance to construct a fence. The fence would only be on the north side of the west side of their property. So if you look at the west side of their property, which abuts the avenue, they're just looking at the north half to put a fence. So the fence would be on their property. Our ordinance states that they could put up a fence without a permit of 4 feet, but they're asking for a 6-foot fence. It would be 5-foot privacy with the top foot being lattice. The reason that they're asking for this is to help with privacy, noise, and screening. Then they're also asking for the fence would run north to their property, and there's a driveway at the north side of their property, and so we are putting in a traffic triangle, which is essentially that fence would have to triangle off to allow for visibility of that driveway, so that they would have that visibility coming out of the driveway. They wouldn't be able to run the fence just all the way up to their property line.
So it's taking into consideration traffic, the neighbors.
That's
And
crazy busy. It's
Very busy.
crazy busy there. Yeah, I don't blame them. Yeah, I'll move resolution 2253 for the Shimmick
I'll
fence.
second
variance.
that.
a motion and a second, and we're not looking at anything, I don't think we're looking at anything that's gonna be causing issues with the neighborhood either, so. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We're going to move into Public Works and Engineering and looking at the 511 bridge, finally. Are you gonna be taking this discussion?
I will. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Before you is a memo and a scope of services confirmation request for the 511 Street Bridge. About 10 years ago, there were some plans and specifications put together for the replacement of this bridge. At that time, the city did not move forward with it. Recently, the county has reached out to WITSEF to let them know that there are some federal funds available to help finance this bridge. The funding stipulates that the city would be responsible for $20,000 of that cost, 10,000 of the design fee and 10,000 of the construction administration. At that time, the city would also be responsible for, they would pay the invoices, they'd pay the design fees and the contractor, and then submit for reimbursement from the county for those funds. And so before you is a request for Woodseth to move forward with the bridge design. That cost is $49,308. The timing of this is, why it's coming to you now is this would be for spring 2024 construction. And so this would allow for time for a project memorandum to be compiled, as well as working with the state and county on the approval of those plans and specifications.
So just so people are aware, the 49,000 price tag is not the cost of the bridge.
Correct. I want to,
That's
I
the
guess,
cost of Vanessa. Good Lord.
that is the
Thank you,
design
Paul,
piece.
and, Any ideas of, just preliminary, any ideas of what kind of bridge you're looking at out there? Is that just gonna be going into,
I'm not a
research?
structural engineer, so I couldn't even begin to speculate.
nope, that's perfect, just
So-
just to get it out there, people
So
ask.
my question, we don't, I mean, I'm just curious what that, you don't know what it'll cost. We don't know until we build. it,
About
draw
10
it.
years ago, it was estimated at 500,000. So
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
And
So
we
$1.2
can
million,
do it for-
$1.5 million.
we can do it for 20 grand.
Yeah.
So we'll pay your 49, then we'll get reimbursed all but 20.
All but 10 at this point in time. So
Okay.
it's 10 of the design, 10 of the construction administration.
You
So
looking
you
for a
would get
motion?
reimbursed 39,000.
So we pay all of the design and all of the construction administration up front,
They wanna-
all of both.
You can, but it's not, you don't pay it all up front and then at the end get reimbursed.
Yeah.
You pay it and then every month you submit for reimbursement. So
Slightly loaded question, I guess. Are we going to be able to have some input into the design, or is it basically you're going to tell us what's the best thing to go there? And that's what we're going to go with. My reasoning for asking
He's a bridge builder. Sorry, go ahead, Jim.
is that bridge does provide quite a service to the city of Pine Island by slowing the flow of water in a flood event into the city of Pine Island. If we blow that out and make the bridge 4 times as wide, we're going to introduce 4 times as much water into the city of Pine Island during a flooding event.
I think that's something that would need to be taken into account during design.
Okay.
It will obviously need to meet state aid standards. And so I think there'll be back and forth with the state and county for that.
Okay.
I can absolutely bring that up to our bridge designer.
Thank
And
you.
it does slow that. and-
It turns all that land into a giant lake out there, but better there than downtown Pine Island. I mean, it's farmland.
And it lets all of our friendly turtles go through too. So.
Right.
This is an action item?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they want to be able to move forward with,
So I'm gonna make a motion that we move forward with the bridge design.
Bridge design.
That's it. Okay.
I'll second that.
right, council, we have a motion and a second to move forward and let Winseth get going on our bridge. The neighbors out there are gonna be extremely happy. Any other discussion? Otherwise, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And then we're gonna keep under Public Works and Engineering with change order number 2 for $12,200 to Schumacher Excavating for New Haven Road. Is this like a last payment or a wrap up or?
This is for 2 fire hydrants that were not planned for. There were 2 water main extensions that were put under the road when it was reconstructed earlier this year. And at that time, it was not anticipated that those service extensions would need to be flushed. It was recently decided that they wanted to be able to flush those. And so the 2 hydrants were installed. And so this change order is for those 2 fire hydrants.
Like our fire hydrant.
I'll move change order too.
I'll second.
A motion and a second for change order number 2 for $12,200. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Let's move into pay or estimate number 3 to Schumacher Excavating for the amount of $51,612.83 for the New Haven Road.
For the New Haven Road. This is the final pay application for New Haven Road. It does include the change order that you just approved. So thank you for that. And it also includes releasing the 5% retainage that is held with every pay app. The work that was completed under this change or this pay application includes some erosion control measures, striping, and reinstalling some mailboxes.
So hold back retainage, so we're done with this.
This is the final application.
You guys have approved everything.
I'm assuming Todd signed off on it. You guys signed off on it.
I'll move to estimate number 3 for Schumacher for New Haven Road, $51,612.83.
Second.
A motion and a second. Let's have that done. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Bob, we're moving into legal. Do you have anything, words of wisdom?
He is off.
Doesn't even look like he's online.
Dropped. Well, we didn't drop
We
him.
dropped
He dropped.
Nothing for legal. Make a motion to approve claims.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 There you go. Let's go into departments. Administrator.
I just want to point out that Stephen has started, so this is his first officially council meeting with us.
Good job,
So
Stephen.
Welcome, Stephen. We're excited to have you.
he's been doing a fantastic job and he's been jumping right in and he's a very quick learner. So it's been amazing.
Holding his own in the office.
Definitely like her desk back. I just wanted to share it now.
And he, at one whole week of service, got to participate in our staff development day, which was really cool to
Nice.
see. So kudos to Liz for putting that together. Councilmember Hildebrand and I were able to attend and be a part of it in the afternoon. It was really, really neat to see.
That was
That's awesome.
a good event.
Yep.
Well done. So kudos to Elizabeth and whoever put work into organizing that. That was a good day for our staff.
Mhm.
I told Rachel I would do her report. I'm not going to do her justice. So I just want to point out that book club meets the second Wednesday of the month. They have different themes, and so in her report, I won't read the books, but she has them all listed out, which books are for which month. Fall story time continues Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. You should definitely come tomorrow because I am the guest reader and I will be doing story time. So that'll be Wednesday mornings, 10 a.m. like they have been. And then look for them at Trunk or Treat. So the library will be hosting a trunk at Trunk or Treat. So
There, and just a shout out, and I've shared this with Rachel, and I'll share with the council. Her library has, and her staff have done a phenomenal job, especially when we start getting into colder temps, people that might be homebound. They've done an excellent job being able to go out and service and take materials to them, which is, it's a really, really neat thing, and that library keeps doing that, and it serves a lot of our population, so. Nice job, man. Well done on that. Do we have anything from Public Works is not here? Mitch? I got excitement tomorrow.
We do have excitement tomorrow, but that's not what I'm gonna talk about.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about manufacturing month. You may have noticed on our Facebook page, we have been posting throughout the last couple of weeks, just highlighting some of our local manufacturers. We did get out with Mayor Freese here to present to them, got to tour a couple of the factories. I just want to highlight, I mean, they're the backbone of this community outside of the school, but overall, I think they have just over 330 employees between the 8 of them. So they are a very important part of our community, and we're just proud to have them here and operating and choosing Pine Island to do business.
Mhm. It was a really neat thing to be able to, I'll call them mini tours. On the fire department side, we've done walkthroughs and things like that, but what's really neat is when you walk through some of the manufacturers and they have made in the USA labels on them. And that's made right here in our community, and it goes all over the world. And to anyone that might say that we don't support businesses, I'll challenge them any time of the day. And those people are very appreciative of the city too, so it's a good thing to be able to do.
Absolutely. That's all I had.
All
you
right.
want to do a shout out for tomorrow?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we're having our business after hours, so all the business owners are invited to join. We're having it at Island Tool and Die tomorrow from 5 to 7 p.m. There will be South by Southeast beer there for those who come.
Fire department, been a busy month. And had our open house, so fire prevention, don't start fires.
Where can folks go for more information about fire prevention?
Social media, they can go on there, and then the National Fire Association's website.
Cool, thank you.
No ways, no two ways about it. You need to find your way out of the house.
Yeah.
Fire. We've emphasized that. Sheriff's office is not here. We have, for the community, Wanamingo and Pine Island will be hosting Pine Island's first sheriff's candidate forum on Thursday at the school forum room at 6 o'clock. So that's going to be exciting. We have not been able to do that before, and Wanamingo is bringing up some of their city officials and community members. And
This Thursday?
yes, sir.
And Mitch will be moderating, so.
He's got experience.
I think you've got a future, Mitch. I'm just saying if the
And that will-
EDA doesn't work. Yeah.
That will be live streamed to YouTube.
I don't know because we aren't familiar with the school's equipment. So we will definitely record it and post it, but I don't think our technology will be able to tap into their sound system because I'm not as familiar with it. So it'll be recorded. I'm not sure about live stream.
Thanks for
so.
asking. Yeah, thanks for asking that. 'Cause, yeah, there's two Wanamingo council members that can't be there. that
I say
Monday.
I just got called. I got to be on an airplane at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, so unfortunately I will miss it. But I would tend to imagine somebody over there would be able to get it live streamed. They live stream so much.
So I think I've been advised that if you follow either or both candidates, one of their media outlets will be live streaming it.
Oh,
So
sure.
I think if you checked out both of those, it'd be good to do anyway, and then watch one of them for a live
Make
stream.
sure it's on there. Cemetery, civil defense, communications. All right,
Sounds
council.
like you might want a motion to adjourn,
Please.
possibly?
A motion and a second, all in favor.
Aye.
Bye.